Hey guys, so I'm still in the hotel. I just tried to do a live stream about my thoughts, my first thoughts of Jedi Fallen Order gameplay. The hotel Wi-Fi is not cooperating. It was super choppy, wasn't good. So I'm here to discuss what I thought of the trailer. I was lucky enough to watch it with Alex and Molly from Star Wars Explained and Elliot from Battlefront Updates. We were all in the same hotel room. It was neat. It's always fun to hang out with those guys. So my very first thought was how similar it reminded me of The Force Unleashed in certain aspects, at least, and maybe that is just visually, right? Maybe that's just because that's really the only example of well, it's not the only example, but it's probably the best example of a third-person action game where you use force powers and lightsabers and stuff like that. So maybe that's just like just a kind of a default comparison. It's hard not to compare. That being said, it looks like the combat in this game is going to appeal to me a lot more than The Force Unleashed did. The Force Unleashed, hack and slash. This, as Stig Asmussen has always said, it's thoughtful combat. And it seems like powers have a pretty decent, and when I say decent, I mean long. You're not kind of cheating the system by constantly using it, but a decent, refresh rate. And the combat looks more kind of precise. The character seems to be, or the player seems to be focusing on one enemy at a time, strategically landing hits using force powers and whatnot. I was a little surprised, to tell you the truth, to see Cal, the main character, using so many force powers and being so kind of adept in using the force, so great in using the force. But then again, we were told that this is 3 hours or so into the game. Who knows what the 3 hours leading into this will be like. I'm really hoping for, I was really hoping for the entire game to be a little wonky when it came to force powers and stuff like that. He seems pretty damn powerful, and I was hoping for more. And maybe this is what the beginning of the game will be like, but I really hope there's a lot of kind of apprentice-style force powers, lightsaber fighting, kind of not really fully capable yet. I think that's where it gets interesting for me. The gameplay itself looks fun. The AI was a little wonky to me, and this is alpha gameplay, who knows, but the stormtroopers seem to not really react quickly, not really be totally there. The purge troopers in the game look like they're going to be a pretty tough enemy. I've been told that, the guy who played this gameplay demo is really good in the game, and I've been told that some people had difficulty in the game, and this guy just makes it look easy. So that could be the case. But the way, your lightsaber and their weapon clash, it looks like some thought has gone into this. It's not just completely hacking and slashing over and over again. There's as the phrase consistently gets repeated, thoughtful gameplay in this. The environment, it does maybe point to a good variety of locations, at least in my head. This is probably one of many missions you will go on across the galaxy to various planets to do various missions. The force powers themselves, what's the new one called? I can't remember what it's called, where he kind of slows things down. Initially I thought it was like a slowdown of time, but it's a slowdown of what you're targeting, it looks like. That's pretty unique. I don't know how often I will utilize something like that, but we'll just have to see. The climbing in the game, reminiscent to Uncharted and whatnot, obviously, with the history of this development. And that's kind of what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a mashup of multiple games. It reminds me of a mashup of Uncharted, with the kind of adventure style climbing and the way the character seems to be handling. And it also reminds me of The Force Unleashed, which I guess that's, as I said, just a default comparison because, hey, it's Star Wars. So yeah, just by judging it from the gameplay that we've seen, I wouldn't say that I'm more excited. I'm as excited as I was. I think I'm just more excited to get my hands on it, to be able to play it in months and months from now. Because, the thing that I'm most excited for is kind of going through the story, experiencing the story. And just from this gameplay, we can't really gauge what's all going on. We see Saw Gerrera, obviously, which is a nice tie-in. I'm sure there's going to be more tie-ins, which is something that I honestly don't look for in Star Wars video games. I'm completely fine with them being just cohesive single units where they have no connection other than a vague connection to the Star Wars universe, But yeah, I'm really hoping for just a solid story that you get invested in, this main character that you root for, you feel for. His droid companion BD-1, I think, is going to be a fan favorite. The droid kind of seems like, a pet, a little helper pet, a little sidekick dog, like in Fallout, right? And I'm very curious what kind of role the droid is going to play. So yeah, I really don't know what else to say. We saw little bit of gameplay today. It doesn't look too fast-paced, which I was worried about. I was worried about it being like overly fast-paced, overly over the top, just action, adventure, craziness. But this seems slow and steady. Well, maybe slow and steady is not the right way to put it. This seems paced really well. And I'm curious how this gameplay kind of fits up with the rest of the game itself. And I keep going back to this, but I really hope they don't rush into him just being a complete badass. You know, I want a story of struggle. I want a story where our character isn't just a god. And I hope they take their time with that, because there's a lot of interesting stuff to explore in that kind of novice Jedi, that Padawan realm, you know, somebody who is not fully formed yet. So yeah, guys, I appreciate you listening, watching this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, I apologize for the lack of streams and videos this week. I've been out in California for EA Play. My laptop is 7 years old. It is dying. It can barely run any video. It barely streams. This is the first time I've used it in like a year. I've been recording audio on my phone. It surprisingly doesn't sound too bad. But yeah, I appreciate you guys sticking with me. And I'll be back for some more polished stuff that you guys are used to next week. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the gameplay demo. I hope it was a good tease for you. I'm very excited to see what else is in store. I'm very excited to see what other environments we're going to be getting. And as I said, let me know what you guys thought down below. And now it's time to head to EA Play. HelloGreedo, out.